All right, so good morning, and hope y'all doing well today. Today is the 8th of October, 2025, 5 a.m. in the morning here in Warner Robins, Georgia. Uh, and This is the long range infrared satellite loop, and I'm using a new video recording software this morning, so bear with me a little bit this morning, a little bit. Drinking my coffee, guys. That's what I normally do. So anyway, this is your long wave infrared. You can see, um, well, epic pen. All right, my pen's working here. So it looks like a mid-level feature moving through the flow, and you can see in general there's a trough right here. Okay. If we look at the mid-level water vapor loop, looks like a short wave moving through the flow right here in general, right? And you have another one, like I said, going through the flow here. And just in general, trough will consolidate. Cold air will rush down into the southeast. Maybe some snow definitely in the Great Lakes, lake effect region, maybe some snow in the Appalachians in the coming days. And some storms ongoing right here, right now, and possibility of severe weather here, and we'll go over that too. And we'll go over potential the temperatures that are going to be dropping significantly, excuse me, over the next several days, then warming up quite a bit again as we go further in time. So we're going to get a quick shot of cold air, and then that's going to be it for a while. So let's see if we have any visible. Nothing yet. Let's bring up the radar on top here. You see what I'm talking about? The storms going on right here. Some moving into western Georgia. Some overrunning, maybe precip, nothing major going on here. In the northern high plains, right? So let's pull up the overlay for the severe weather threat real quick here for today. So general thunderstorms possible anywhere in the southeast and into the Ohio Valley, right? This cold front is kind of strung out here, stationary boundary for now, right? Okay, so these storms down here likely will weaken some because it looks like the forcing is minimal, although we do have some storms down here that may continue to fire. See what happens there. We're bringing up the national radar. It depicts it pretty well as well down here. Nothing major going on, but you know, we have the potential for the severe weather here in parts of Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina today. And we'll go over the severe threat again some more a little bit later and close this out. Let's go to current hazards right now. See what we got going on here. We have freeze watch, parts of northwest Georgia, northern Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Texas, and a fog advisory right now. Likely due to the precip that happened overnight and the just a lack of overall change in air mass, even though a cold front went through. Right. So lots of low-level moisture hanging around. Okay. And then up here we got some wind and weather advisories up into the plains. High wind warning, high wind advisories here, and some dense fog advisories out west here. Now, when we're looking at the forecast, right, we got the current hazards. Here's your current temps right now. Still quite warm for most of the country. Let me try to refresh this, see if we have. This is as of 4 a.m. You see the warm temperatures here in the southeast, right? And up north here, cooler temps building in, right? Boundary kind of in between, right? This isn't the initial cold push coming down here. This is more what the precursor to this air eventually pushing down this way and really giving us a shock here in the coming days. So departures from yesterday's temps at this time. You can see much warmer than yesterday along the east of the Mississippi. West of Mississippi is colder than yesterday, and overall colder than it was yesterday at this time for a good portion of the country. And funny enough, it's warmer than it was compared to yesterday up here into Canada. So that's kind of interesting. As far as the cloud cover, we know we got a lot of cloud cover here in the southeast and along this boundary here, right, and then generally in this area. And the only real cleared out area is maybe out here. So the cloud cover also helps moderate temperatures, but in the coming days, it's going to clear out and cold air is going to push through, right? Wind gusts at this point in time are not that bad. 20s and 30s and 40 mile per hour winds off the front range of the Rockies, off the East Coast, and off the West Coast of the United States. I don't think this is particularly unusual this time of year, having the winds just coming off the front range here, especially when you have a flow coming like this in general, or like that. So current wind chill heat index values getting cold up here with the wind chills in the single digits, 20s. This cold air is pooling, like I said, is going to move south in the coming days. Excuse me. So now we're going to do an analysis here of the flow, okay? And what we're seeing here is 500 millibar vorticity analysis. Is European model, right? And we're going to run a comparison of all different models that are within range of this. And this will change based on how we move through the time frame here. So this is, let me see, what time is this? 00Z. Move it forward just a little bit to line up with our time, which is roughly 12Z. We're at, well, go back, 9Z. Short wave with attendant jet streak behind it. Another short wave up here. We saw that on a satellite. Deeper mid-level feature up here in the Canada. More energy is going to swing around right to the south here. And we'll keep this on the European as we move through. That short wave moves out. And this is tomorrow morning or tonight. Another short wave move through the flow here. See the flow at the mid-levels is still west to east here. You see this trough diving south, okay? You can see the 500 millibar flow is generally this direction, which is going to bring cold air down and really hit us hard down here. I know I keep saying that, but yeah. Moving through time. Another jet streak here. Interesting the way this is tied together. Pretty cool looking. This feature dives down, rotates through, vortex, right? But lifts out very quickly. You see this jet streak right along the east coast here. That's maybe where we'll have some enhanced precipitation as this trough moves out. We'll just have to see what happens. The European seems the most bullish on that, although these are all in different locations, but you see the different speeds here. European 50, 60 knots. GFS and UCMED a little bit less, but overall, it shifts out. Then you have a northwest flow, right? If we switch back to the forecast for the European, we'll just stick to that. Northwest flow continues here with the jet stream center right over the northeast. High pressure aloft building out west, and that means warmer temps. I'm telling you guys, it's going to get warm. We may have record warm temps here. Look at that high pressure building all the way up into Canada, and you see a trough off the west coast here. And you know, thinking about El Nino in general, and La Nina. La Nina favors northern jet stream pattern, right? Systems coming on. Let's just say all other things being equal, all right? It doesn't mean it's going to happen all the time. There's always changes in the atmosphere, right? And things can change. But in general, La Nina patterns tend to favor more northerly routes of these systems that go up. Getting on the northeast. I'm talking way too fast. Sorry, guys. On the northeast, northwest coast, okay? And right over this way. So it favors colder air up here in general, warmer air down here. Normally, in general, drier conditions in the south. Of course, if you have a Pacific flow coming here, you're going to bring this moisture this way. And because we're on this border here of colder and warmer air, you know, we got storms moving through the flow, but it's very progressive, right? So unless we get a negative tilted trough, which you almost see here off the west coast, right? We can swing that through a little bit further here and see this is the 14th. It doesn't really take a negative tilt. You can see this moves out of the way here, right? So you have high pressure shifting to the east, okay? This trough actually dives down in the flow and gets cut off flow here. You see it's cut off from the jet stream, right? So as this lives to the north here, the jet stream to the north, and this mid-level feature, right? Pretty potent mid-level feature moving through the flow here. And if we look at the forecast, we go to the selected run model comparisons. There's the European. EuroAI doesn't have is nearly as potent, right? And the GFS doesn't either. It's further back. And the Canadian has it further north. So where that ends up going and this is the 17th. Okay, it's really dependent on we could have potential for severe weather in this area, right? But in the short term, we really got to be concerned with going back to the forecast, right? Go back to around the 10th or 11th. This system moving through the east. Okay. So now if we look at the surface and what's going to happen here, let's first look at the forecast. All right. Surface features. Something you typically would look at, except with the exception you don't see the fronts on here. But in general, you have the 540 line, which indicates freezing level, right, aloft. Now, don't take this as where it's going to snow or rain. This is a general rule of thumb, right? And it was harped on that this doesn't mean it's going to snow or rain north, south of this line. It's just a reference point we use, okay, for colder versus warmer air above and below freezing, okay? And so you get the surface feature here on the 9th. Let's go back to the 8th here, about 10 a.m. Not a big change in air mass down here, guys, right? And we move through time. Low up there. Low pressure starts to develop inland, right? You know, overrunning moisture up here into parts of the Great Lakes and surrounding areas. You see the cold air pushing in behind this. And part of the thing is the cold air is not your typical setup here where you have cold air pooled up here necessarily and it blocking the system from moving, right? And it pulls the cold air back down and it just there's not a lot of cold air in place right now is what I'm trying to say on the northeast. So it's not very favorable for a big snow event, all right? So maybe a low develops off the coast here. You can see overrunning precip way up to the north here. The trough diving south. Snow showers, lake effect snow, right? Move through the flow. Maybe some ocean effect right here along the coast. And the European was showing a lot more than this the other day, but it's not nearly as bullish on it. Quite a bit of snow going on up here to the north. And the lake effect favored areas. We'll go over the snow totals as well. Appalachians in the favored northwest flow regime. And ocean effect snow with the cool, really cool temperatures over relatively warmer waters. You may get some ocean effect snow in certain areas, and way downstream of the lakes may get some snow flurries and snow showers. Okay, but you see what happens here. High pressure surface builds in. All right, this is on the 12th. Dries out, but you have this northwest flow that maintains itself. And along the west coast, you see here that system coming on shore, right? You have that system over the Rockies. Well, moves over the southwest. See the surface flow develop here. I could really see the chances for severe weather ramping up here on the 17th. Let's take a quick sounding from one of this, see if I can get a sounding from this area. Well, we'll have to see, but just a general glance, quite a bit of shear at the low levels here, guys. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. But um, so what are future temps going to look like? Let's do a National Weather Service forecast temps, okay? And Max temps ending today, 80s. You see where the cold air is here, guys. Right? Generally in this area. Warm. Supposed to be. This is really warm. Okay. Move tomorrow. Tonight. Cold in the northern tier, right? And then max temps tomorrow. You see it's getting pinched off here, but still quite warm tomorrow. Min temps tomorrow night. Cold air is pushing south, guys. You see it right here, right? Tomorrow, Monday. Whew. Max temps in the 40s in the Georgia, a good portion of the eastern U.S., but warming up quite nicely here just to the east of the Rockies. Whew, cold Monday night, 10th. Very cold, right? Max temps on the 11th are actually going to warm up a little bit compared to Monday. So Monday ought to be our coldest day, according to this. Min temps Monday, Tuesday night, warming up some, close to freezing. But going back to min temps here, we're gonna have our first freeze right here. So we go to max temps for the 11th, 50s, 60s. Min temps for that night. Tuesday, sorry. Wednesday, warming up quite a bit, guys. See 60s, 70s, and 80s. It's not lasting long, right? Cool on the northern tier, but the southern tier, not too bad. 40s, 50s, 30s. And you see the warm up continues here. Cold air is relegated to the north. And really warming up. Further out we go. So, what am I doing here? 24-hour precip. Let's see how much precip we had in the previous 24 hours. You see where the most precip was in the Mississippi Valley, into the plains and Midwest, but overall not a lot of heavy precip. Except for excessive rainfall. I go through the days here. Nothing expected, guys. No real flooding risk in the coming days. Now, severe weather outlook for today. We have a marginal risk, which I showed on the other map. No tornado risk today. Marginal hail risk, marginal wind risk. Okay. Tomorrow, that threat moves further along the east coast. No tornado risk, low hail and wind right along the coast there. All right. And for day 3, no thunderstorms forecast. Day 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's too hard to predict at this point. So let's go back to the European and talk about wind chills real quickly. All right. Surface wind chill. All right. So this is the thing we got to be careful about. Starting on the 9th, even before that, cold air is pooling up to the north there. You see the wind chill temperatures. Even during the day, the northern tier are going to be below freezing. All right. And you see the wind chill temps overnight on the 11th, Veterans Day, going to be the coldest for the eastern U.S. But before that, the colder air is up to the north. You go through the 11th, and that cold air pushes further to the north there. Wind chill temps aren't nearly as bad. And, you have the northern tier staying colder. overall, getting pretty hot and humid up here. This is pretty warm for this time of year, guys. So, um, well, that's all I got. I hope that I was able to do this recording without too many problems and it doesn't crash on me. So we'll see how it goes, and God bless.